Trump is freezing the tariffs. Breaking news. Let's get into
announced
it.
He will pause the 25% tariffs
I'll be back in a
on
second.
Mexican imports. We have reporters in Mexico City and in the North Lawn of the White House.
I'm glad that he's at least putting a pause on it, and it was just him being fucking. What is the madman theory or whatever? He was behaving Nixonian like. So he's putting a pause on the tariffs. Oh, I'm pausing them. It didn't make any sense. Oh.
So we are waiting to see what happens. And of course, Phil, retaliatory tariffs happen. We've already heard from Canada that they're expecting to retaliate with 25% tariffs.
He was just memeing, dude. He was just memeing. Y'all don't understand. It was just meme style. He's just a little guy. Nazi Germany, post World War I, feeling slighted by the rest of the Western world, right? The economy's in the pooper. Very different set of circumstances where they can set up an agenda that they've been wronged by everyone else and that they're a powerful and mighty nation. The United States of America, albeit suffering a little bit due to its own selfish nature, is in a very different circumstance as the hegemonic superpower. So when you make the argument that like all of the other international countries are screwing us over, we are the ones that are constantly being screwed over by everybody else, and that's why we must take action against this sort of thing, you're in an entirely different predicament because the entirety of the global trade is designed in a way that benefits you, okay? The entirety of global trade benefits the United States of America. It's like complaining about NATO, which Donald Trump does all the time as well. It makes no sense. Why would you complain about NATO when NATO is there for you? It's stupid. That's my point. Here's the Canada call that just came in as well. Just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners, and increased resources to stop the flow of fentanyl. Nearly 10,000 frontline personnel are and will be working on protecting the border. In addition, Canada is making new commitments to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list all cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, launch a Canada-U.S. joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. I've also signed a new intelligence directive on organized crime and fentanyl, and we'll be backing it with $200 million. Proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days while we work together. The most giga chat thing is Claudia made Trump admit the cartels are only armed because of the American weapons trade. Latinas stay winning. Yeah, Claudia is great. Hasan, famously, when you import something, you're being ripped off. So when you import Indian-made iPhones, the U.S. is being ripped off. I think it's also very funny that they're forcing Canada's hand into like spending money on the most nonsensical, like, what is it? It was like 43 kilograms of fentanyl total that was apprehended. And before people say, oh, dude, that's a lot of like lethal doses or whatever. No, it's not. Okay. It's nothing in comparison to the metric ton of drugs that are being trafficked over the border in general. Okay. Let alone border apprehensions they're probably not a long-term solution. Oh, it's 43 pounds, not even 43 kilograms. That's so crazy. Is this a L or a W for Trump? It's a secret third thing. It's not an L and it's not a W. It's just like a secret third thing. Okay. That's what it is for Donald Trump. It's not a W because he didn't do. He did the classic, like, create a problem and then simultaneously fix the problem. No problem existed in the beginning.
With our trusted ally, Canada, and everyone in Canada watching this knows what I say is true. This is tragic for no reason. No excuse here for us to do this to Canada. And with Mexico, again, you don't want to treat your partners and your neighbors this way. And by the way, it's disgusting to watch Trump constantly threaten Canada and Mexico.
Damn, this guy loves Canada, bro. Why don't you marry it? Okay, calm down. It's disgusting what we've done to our best friend Canada. It is a ridiculous thing that Donald Trump has done. Make no mistake. He did it again, man. The mad lad did it. The more I think about it, the funnier it gets. Donald Trump used to do this all the time. I guess we forgot. Where he would just be like, I'm going to shake things up a little bit. And then he would break something for no reason and then, quote unquote, seemingly fix it. Just reversing the previous decision to break something that makes no sense to break. You know what I mean? And the tariff thing just simply did not make sense. Like when I say no reason, seriously, yes, no reason. Dude, come on, dude. You think there was a valid reason to apply tariffs to 55% of our trade partners? Like our partners that comprise 55% of all trade? Like what's the severe problem? Tariffs have to be hyper specific. They have to be hyper targeted. They have to be done. They have to be applied in a way that benefits domestic manufacturing in a key sector. Okay. You can't just be like, oh, I'm doing complete trade tariffs, like all tariffs. It doesn't make sense. If you do that for anything but an economic reason, it has to be ginormous. You mean like Canada did? Yeah. No, that's a great example. Canada's counter tariffs are perfectly reasonable. It was a counter tariff. It is a retaliatory tariff. Yes, that is an appropriate way to do tariffs. You're hitting the nuclear option because your psychotic neighbor decided to go after you for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, that is logical, because notice how that's a defensive posture there. It's basically to say, hey, we'll make your economy scream as well. We'll make sure that your key businesses are undermined. We'll lower trade from you, and we'll go trade with Canada instead. That's it. That makes a lot more sense than being the United States of America who kickstarts the tariffs to begin with. Also, it seemingly worked, considering that Donald Trump backed down and put a pause on the tariffs anyway. So what are you talking about? In Canada's case, your Nixonian madman theory might be right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. He's basically saying like, I'm insane. Okay, don't mess with me, I guess. It seems like this must be a negotiation tactic since this sounds so insane, but friends in the Canadian government have told me that he hasn't privately conveyed any other actual demands. This is what I'm saying. There is no real reason for it. Okay, there's no real it just doesn't make sense. It literally does not make sense. Is he absolutely lost his mind? I don't know. He's just trying some out, seeing what sticks, I guess. I don't know, because this is the other side of the story, is that like, when asked why he's doing this, because people kept saying like, why are you doing this? And he just kept saying tariff is the best word in the English language. Like, what? Tariffs, my favorite word, best word in the English language, no better word than tariffs. And then they'd be like, why are you doing this to Canada? And he'd be like, drugs. Canada's letting fentanyl come over the border. Snow Mexico. We have Mexico on the southern border, snow Mexicans on the north. We must stop them. He just needed something to run on as an answer to his base they could easily implement a rollback with no one else's input.
To see Canada become our 51st state, we give them protection, military protection. We don't need them to build our cars. I'd rather see Detroit or South Carolina.
Another part of this story that I'm a little bit alarmed by is the Republican reaction to it. The Republicans have been just like begging to invade Canada in this process. Like, we all went from like, haha, that's not going to happen, to like Republicans being like, no, we actually want to kill Canadians. Like, can we please annex Canada? And it happened relatively quickly. It happened overnight. It is a bit alarming. Despite its proximity, Canada has still been able to maintain some semblance of social safety nets. They have a litany of their own personal issues, but I will admit that I think they're better off without us, and that they should not be destroyed by our sweet, sweet freedom of private enterprise. I really, really, really think that it would be devastating, and it would be cruel and unusual for Canada to become a part of America, no matter how much dumbass Albertans wish that upon their own people. Canada, get behind me. I'll protect you. Okay? Canadians, get behind me. Stand back, stand by. I will do everything in my power to ensure that you are not destroyed by the United States of America. Look at this dipshit. After we destroy the Canadian economy, their will to resist will erode. We will then march in unopposed and deliver Canada to its rightful place as a territory of the U.S. with no political representation. The best part of the concessions that both Mexico and Canada gave today are that both of them are pre-promised stuff they already talked about last year and sold them to Trump as a win for him. Lamau, they gave him basically nothing, and it's funny. Yeah, but it also still doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense as to why it happened to begin with. It did not need to happen.
Tennessee, any one of our states build the cars. They could do it very easily. We don't need them for the cars. We don't need them for lumber. We don't need them for anything. We don't need them for energy. We have more energy than they do. We don't need them for energy. So I say, why are we doing this? Why are we willing to lose between $100 billion and $200 billion a year? We don't need them. As a state, it's different. As a state, it's much different. And there are no tariffs. So I'd love to see that, but some people say that would be a long shot. If people wanted to play the game right.
When most people hear tariff, they think about how it sounds like sheriff and taffy combined. Delicious, yet deadly. You're right. That is an interesting take that I hadn't thought of. Paraphrasing Howard Stern's mother, something horrible has happened. That's how most Americans feel about Trump tariffs. They don't like them. Wait, what? Why? Dude. Every time I see Harry Enton on television showcasing polls and virtually everyone says like, oh, dude, what the fuck are tariffs? Everybody started Googling tariffs. I am reminded of the thing that I tell you all the time, okay? Americans are very stupid. Americans are very stupid. Americans don't understand the impact of government action until that government action is about to impact their lives or that government action has impacted their lives. Okay, this is precisely the reason why I laugh whenever people go, well, you don't understand, like 56% of Americans want to kill every Mexican. It's like, yeah, okay, dude, sure. All right, wait till it starts happening. And then you'll go, oh, everyone is Googling why the American government is killing Mexicans. It's the same. And this is not just America. It happened with Brexit. This is just the global population, okay? Specifically, or especially in the Western world. But this is just how it is. How many times does this have to happen for you guys to go, okay, maybe polling on issues like this are not necessarily the most, not necessarily the most comprehensive way of approaching the subject matter, not necessarily the best way of seeing how the people are going to react to something once it happens. Look at the TikTok ban. Americans wanted the TikTok ban at the time when the legislation was happening. It's like, no, they didn't. Okay, they did not. They did not. Look at the numbers. You got 170 million people using this goddamn application. Why would they want their treats taken away? Until something happens, most Americans are not going to reckon with the reality of it, okay? Also, it doesn't really matter because the American government does not actually operate on the basis of popular democracy anyway. It's not like the American government goes, oh, wow, this particular thing is very popular. Let's do it. They do the exact opposite more consistently. You would have an easier time understanding what the American government is going to do if you were to look at something with like broad popularity and then expect the government to do the exact opposite of that thing that is broadly popular. And that is how it works. Oh my God. Always and forever and consistently. It sucks. But here it is. Most Americans are now Googling what tariffs are, okay? Most Americans are now Googling what tariffs are. They are terrified of Trump's tariffs. It's like, yeah, no. How many on the street interviews do we see of people just being like, nah, you don't understand, brother. Tariffs are going to be great. Egg prices are going to go down with the tariffs. It's like, what? How? Your expectation is the opposite of what is supposed to happen. If broad tariffs are implemented on 55%, 60% of our trade partners, all trade. It's the exact opposite. Is there a particular reason? Do you want to move all trade to India? Is that what it is? Or Vietnam or something? Like, have you set this up already ahead of time? Do you have a competent, competitive domestic industry that will keep up with the additional demand? Do you have a way of ensuring price stability so that the competent domestic manufacturing increases production in a way to keep up with the demand without increasing the prices on the consumer side? No. If the answer is no to all of these things, then what the are you doing? Like, oh, well, Trump said it's going to be good, so I think it's going to be good. Oh no, what has happened? Where my egg gone? Why is everything so expensive? Why is everything getting more and more expensive? I don't understand it. And then in the process, some people are going to turn around and say, it's actually patriotic to pay more for the price of eggs, brother. You piece of shit, you goddamn libtard. You don't understand. America number one. Okay. And then the other people are going to look at the situation and go, it's because of black people working in the factories. That's why. DEI, my poultry facility is what caused the bird flu, avian flu, they're calling it, which is also simultaneously woke and gay and made up, but also a devastating virus caused by the Chinese. None of it makes sense. All of it is politics of resentment and spite. None of it makes sense. There is no logic behind it. There's no critical thinking, barely any literacy in this goddamn country. I don't know what the say. Bro, I got family with accounting degrees that still believe what Trump says about tariffs. I don't understand. Is macro econ not like a part of the conversation? What is happening? In order to become a CPA, you definitely have to have a basic understanding of this sort of stuff. Dude, why? Accounting is microeconomics? What are you talking about? You still need to take macro. What are you saying? Macroecon in college is fake and lib coded. It's literally, I took principles of macroeconomics in college. What is insane about this process is I shouldn't be defending it, okay? they should be defending, okay? They should be saying the words that are coming out of my mouth. If you're an accountant, you should be like, what the f? This is so dumb. I took a basic macro course in college before I got my accounting license, okay? So I'm somewhat familiar with what is going on. That's the conversation that should be taking place. Why am I defending it? It doesn't make sense. 22 Egg Watch currently, oh my God, 812. Are there even eggs in any of the grocery stores right now in America? Because I've been eating a ton of eggs out here, whether it be a tamago sando or whether it be when I go to a sukiyaki place and I dip my wagyu in it. You know, it's amazing. It's going to be really horrible when I come back to the United States and realize that eggs don't even exist on the shelves anymore because of the goddamn avian flu. And it's good that we've destroyed the FDA, the CDC, and the NIH. So that's cool. I guess when you kill the institutions that are supposed to inform the public about these sorts of things, then no one really knows what's going on and they just simply don't have eggs on the shelves. And then people go, oh, these eggs must be flying off the shelves because it's so cheap, I think. And I can never seem to find some eggs because Donald Trump brought forth the most bountiful, with his incredible leadership. Donald Trump once again brought such bounties upon the American public. We have been visited by good fortune. The real golden age of eggs is upon us.